each of you in the back of your booklet has a copy of a contract of employment for the superintendent. And I would assume that you have read this. And I, for one, think that Mr. Armstrong has done an excellent job since he's been here.
I do too. See some vast
I
improvements.
think we could, I would like to see us, as I said last meeting, in a position where Orange County ranks higher in our standings. But I think we've moved a long way from where we were when Mr. Armstrong took over.
Absolutely too.
And I would recommend personally that we fulfill a new contract with Mr. Armstrong.
And I'd like to make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Steve.
And I will second it.
Okay.
What about details?
Well, I totally, if I can make a comment here,
Go right ahead.
I totally agree with Mr. C. But there are a few things in the contract that I think that need to be tweaked a little, maybe. I don't know, again, if it's things I should make public.
Okay.
Or if it's
Public.
Public document.
Okay, well, part of what I know, I'm not sure of myself inside, and again, Mr. Armstrong, this is not at you. I'm not sure about the policies that they're talking about in here because I'm not familiar with the policies with the wording that's in here, and,
Garnet, this would be a good time since our board attorney's here to ask those questions.
Yeah. I was getting ready to do
That contract, with the exception of the tuition reimbursement and the superintendent's evaluation clause, is identical to the contract that Mr. Armstrong initially got. It is essentially identical to the contracts that the superintendent and Floyd, Johnson, and Perry kept at the present time, so it's
And
not, nothing unusual about that contract.
And the contract does not reflect any salary increase.
That's correct.
Does not reflect, I don't believe, an increase of the 1% that you would recommend with other folks.
It does that, yes.
No, it does state in here, if anybody else gets raises, that he.
That's always been that way.
That's all.
That's nothing new, that's
Yeah.
always been
but
that way.
and that's one thing that I remember dealing with this many years ago. With all the certified people, would that mean that you, along with all those certified people in the board office, would get that raise also?
Everybody would receive a 1%.
Is there a way of, I mean, this is a touchy subject, but here goes. Is there any wording we could put in here with the people that are making the bigger money and letting that 1% raise go to the teachers?
This is for his contract, this is just his contract.
Yeah, this is his contract.
You can't do that anyway, can you?
When certified staff is raised, every certified employee gets it. Superintendent would get it only because it's in his contract. But
When you give a 1% raise.
every employee, every certified
Well,
employee
that's why I was asking.
would get as a matter of law, they get that. You know, when the state says everybody gets a raise, they all get the same percentage raise. You know, because the board could give a raise and the state didn't do it, but you, in a sense, you've got to generally keep everybody, you know, at the same. If teachers get percentage increases, administrators usually do too. They're taking salary cuts.
Right.
So, anyway,
It is, Mike, before you sit down, is it legal through the Board of Education to put incentives in there based on test scores or anything else like that, saying if test scores are up, then we can give an incentive to the superintendent. Is that legal, or is that?
It says on there about his evaluation also, that we can do that, and it doesn't increase the term of his contract. It would just, if we ever wanted to do that, that doesn't change his contract.
Yeah.
Well, you could
Versus
always
fiction.
amend, you could, you know, put something in there now, we could change it. You could amend it at any time. The only thing about amendment would be, you know, you'd want to change it, and the you know, you'd have to agree.
Let me just state my opinion on this. I'm a brand-new board member, so I know there's some lines drawn in the sand, but I'm standing in the middle for the kids. And I've had a very limited relationship with you so far, so I cannot base an opinion, because I've not had the courtesy to do my own due diligence. I've not even met everybody at the board meeting, or at the board office, you know. I haven't. So I'm not for or against this contract, because I haven't been allowed to really kind of dive into it. And that, you know, that's where I'm at right now. And only kind of having one business day to really dive into the contract too, that bothers me a little bit. But it's not that I don't want it to go through, or I do want it to go through. It's just right now I have not been able to do my own due diligence to make a good, sound opinion. And, you know, I've had,
You mean of what kind of superintendent you will do?
no, of the entire situation.
But don't you know, I mean, haven't you seen the improvement that's been made since Mr. Armstrong's been?
No, I
here?
haven't. See, I don't know what the test scores were before you got here, and I've just seen the ones that we just got last quarter. So I haven't seen that. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that Mr. Armstrong is a bad superintendent. I'm not saying that I don't want him here for 4 more years. I'm saying I haven't seen it, so I have no information to base an opinion on. And that's all I'm saying. And I've, you know, what I have seen of him has been very professional, very courteous, and I've had a good working relationship with him, but it's been so minimal. And so you know, I don't know what the exact situation is here, but I just feel like I've not been able to do any due diligence. The very first meeting, getting hit with a couple things here and being put in the middle of a few things, I would kind of ask for just a little bit of time to do some due diligence, so that way I would feel like I make an educated decision. That's a 4-year decision. That's a very important decision. And, you know, I don't even know if the compensation is up to par with other school systems. I don't know if, there's a lot of questions I have that I haven't been able to get the information. But, you know, but to me, as a board member and as a businessman, I want to make sure Lawrence County is up to terms on every situation. And I would like to be able to do some due diligence on this contract.
Mr. Smith, do the other school boards, again, I read through this for a brief moment yesterday or last night, and then sat down this morning, kind of really tried to comprehend. Do the other schools pay for the term life insurance? That was one of...
Generally, that's in many contracts. You know, it doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, I get term life insurance.
I mean, it's virtually nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Oh.
I say
okay.
that's
Well,
something,
see,
but it's not very
That's what
much.
I'm
Term
talking
life
about. Then another question I had was the doctoral program.
That's not uncommon. Floyd County, for instance, has been paying the superintendent theirs, we're just reimbursing for tuition, but they pay more than that. They pay additional expenses and have agreed to consider if he goes to Europe or something, or has to, you know, he has to go somewhere, that they count that as a work day. In other words, that he's paid for time that he's been off, you know, out somewhere on his doctoral. You know, this one doesn't say that. But yeah, I mean, it's generally perceived that the superintendent's education is a benefit and value to the district. So the district can pay for that. I mean, he pays tax on it. He pays income tax on it. So it's a reimbursement basically of his expenses that he is taxpaying to. In essence, you can say, well, it's a kind of compensation. It's not regular and recurring, but it's a tuition reimbursement. Like the board could grant tuition reimbursement or tuition payment to teachers, right, who went back to continue their education. And what you do is, you can do that as long as you have a contract with them that they'll be back in the district, for 2-3 years.
Mr. Smith, you did write this contract? Or your law?
I did. I was asked to add the issue about the reimbursement of tuition.
Educators. I mean, it's just a big, vast improvement. Look at what he's done for the buildings,
Well, nobody's saying that he didn't.
Yeah.
Clearly, I want you to understand that. But just because I'm somewhat green at this, I just felt like I needed to ask those questions.
And let me state, that's the whole thing is that I don't have any knowledge that you guys have. And that is my only, I am not against him getting a new contract or for it at this point, because I haven't been able to form an opinion at all. And it would not be what I would think is the best decision for me to make a vote on this myself, because I have no experience with this right now. And I've had no time to do due diligence. Me and Mike have talked for about an hour or so in his office, and we've talked a few times on the phone. But as far as that, I don't know what the test scores are. I don't know what the financial situation was, and you guys have. And so it is not a vote against or for. It's just, I'm saying I would never jump into something as major as this with absolutely no information.
We have a motion and a second on the superintendent's contract. Anybody that would like to see a copy of the contract is certainly welcome to look at it. It is a 4-year contract that begins July the 1st of 2013 and runs through June 30th of 2017. Motion second. All in favor? Aye.
I'm going to abstain just because of what I stated previously.
All opposed?
I'll say that, yes.
I'm sorry, what do you vote?
Yes.
Vote yes, okay.
Now, with that being said, I
4
want
yes and 1 abstain. 4 yes and 1 abstain.
I said I want to abstain. And now that I think it's
That's a shame. You can afford it. These other teachers cannot. You're making over $100,000. You, of every teacher in this county, can afford to get higher education, and they can't. You ought to be ashamed.
And Ruth, you sit there and voted for that past superintendent of all what happened.
I was on the school board.
You supported him. You supported him.
Did he get his PhD?
Mr.
I think all these teachers are going to love this.
Mr. Armstrong,
Going to love it.
whether you think so or not.